3, and I'm just waiting for YouTube to say
1, 2, 3,
that it's
4, 5.
all right. Great,
Testing.
I got it. So here it is. The my only concern is that in terms of levels and balance wise, you're still softer than I am, but maybe it's just because of the current setup. I'm trying to turn my microphone down as soft as humanly possible. I mean, hopefully that'll fix it a little bit.
When I checked some of your videos on YouTube, they are all like really, really low volume, all of them.
Okay. Yeah, I need to just look into the setup in general, but the stream. Okay, now we're about equal. I'm just looking at the.
All right, maybe we'll try to talk a little bit louder so it can be compensated somehow.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you could, I have I have it up right now, so sort of I'm. You could probably even see it on the stream. So I'm just looking at the bars for me and for you, and they both hit right before red. So usually that's kind of what I tested as, but it could be that even in spite of that, there's a some sort of issue. But okay, so what I'll do is I'll tweet it out, and then we can start.
And basically, if I go directly to YouTube on your channel, you wouldn't have to send me the link. It's gonna be like a live starting straight away, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The link
on your
exactly. Yeah, the link I just sent on Discord. If you see that link.
Okay.
I could email it to you as well if that's a little easier.
Yeah, got it. No, yeah, but you've sent it on my phone. I don't have it on on the PC. So
yeah, I could.
That's why. Can you send it on Facebook? The message.
I could send
email.
Yeah, email
whatever.
For sure. I'll send it over email. It's yeah.
But now I can't see you. I can hear you. We're still connected, but okay.
So let me open up. Okay, great. So info at SounDirective.com. I'll send it to links. Links. Great. So here is the YouTube link, and then I'll send the link for the document that we're going to be making music on as well.
But I can't seem to get to the video. Do you see me on video? Wait.
Yeah, I can see it just fine.
I'm back. Okay, I found it.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. We send it to info@sounddirective.com.
Yeah, I just sent it, the 2 links, and I'm going to tweet them out too.
I did generate a link for people that might want to be interested to get the sound pack with a discount.
Awesome.
So maybe you can like add it at a later stage or whatever.
Yeah, I'll add it. I'll add it right in the document that we're gonna use. And I'll also put it on the Discord server, the Title Cycles one, as well. Check out his.
Okay, so I can see it with a delay.
Yeah, that's always how the YouTube streaming.
I'm turning my phone totally down so that I can hear you through the. All right. Okay, I got it.
Cool. Sweet. Okay, great. So just a final check. My mic is working. I saw yours is coming through. The
thing is that there is going to be a delay. I need to sync myself to the phone actually, not to YouTube. So I'm going to put my phone up and I'm going to put YouTube down.
Yeah, okay. Exactly, because there's always going to be a couple seconds delay with the stream. Okay. Yeah. Great. Okay, and what I'll do is let me actually tell the title community as well. That we are, because I pinged them that you'd be on, so I'll say we're using.
will connect with the other link that you send me, the Yup Wags
Yeah,
FM.
yeah, exactly. Okay, awesome. So, um,
Okay, I'm in, and I have to press play.
yeah, you can press play just to make sure that you get sound, but you ain't seen nothing yet. It's gonna get very different very soon. But just to make sure you get sound.
Yeah, I got sound.
Okay, great.
Do do do.
Yeah, exactly.
Do.
But here is the stream. Okay, so I'm gonna just
Does
set.
it stop?
You can press the stop button and it'll stop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Cool.
all right, sweet. So welcome to the stream. We have so this is kind of the second official stream that we've done after kind of just a lot of kind of community ones. But we started reaching outside of the community just to meet new people. And the first thing that I did, I told you, was a little bit about this, was just scanning my hard drive for the past 2 years. Whose samples have I used a lot? And I found Interstate, and I had no, I just found the folder and I was like, where did this come from? I've used it like 3 or 4 times. So it took me a while even to kind of reverse engineer and figure out whose it was. And then I found your site. I wasn't sure if you were a company or a person or whatever. And then I realized that I only had 400 megabytes, and during our call you said it was gigabytes. So I realized that to make room, I had deleted ones that I wasn't using. So I got it again. So now I have the full thing, which is awesome. So that's the story for how I know your stuff. But I'd love for you to just to say something about yourself, where you're from, what got you into kind of music and sample making, and then we'll just dive right into making music together.
So my real name is Marius, right? And for people who don't know, I am a professional sidetrans producer for the last 15 years or so. So I have been like producing sidetrans all over the world all this time. In the last couple of years, I decided to kind of leave the sidetrans production on the side for a bit, and I got into creating samples and preset packs for other sidetrans producers. And I have created a brand called SounDirective, which I own and run. And within this brand, I release my own and other people's, other producers of the sidetrans genre, preset packs and sample packs for other producers to get and use in their own music productions. So I'm relatively new into the sample business, if you can call it like that. But it has developed in the last 2 years. It has developed quite a lot, and it's the main thing that I do now.
Awesome, cool.
And for people that I don't know, I am situated in Greece, and yeah, that's the home base of the brand.
Awesome. And we'll dive. So already with a couple of folks from the community, we've already played around with your samples a little bit. So we're actually going to dive in right away to one of the creations, which will be super fun. But before that, for people that don't know Wags, Wags is an online DAW and music player. And its ambition is to be able to be a place where people can create music, listen to music, stream, chat about music. There's a chat widget, but also buy and sell samples directly. So currently, companies like SounDirective and other companies that sell samples sell them through Gumroad, which is like a fine way to do it. But one idea that we have is when you're actually creating and when you're actually making sound and when you're kind of reaching for a sample or reaching for a sound that you don't have, that could be a really good moment to sell something, to make a sale. So you're looking for an awesome hat or an awesome kick or an awesome pad at 140 beats per minute. So you type those things in and find Psytrance 140 beats per minute drone immediately and purchase it during the creative process. So
just as a sound, like as a single sound,
as a sound or as a library. So we're not, in terms of the model of like how that'll happen, we have some ideas, but it's not fully fleshed out yet. But
because usually the sample packs, they contain like a huge amount of samples in it, or like from kicks and snares to basses to whatever. So maybe you're looking for only a small piece out of it, but you do get the whole lot. That it's the libraries are usually really big nowadays,
Yeah,
especially like the one that you got from me. It's one of the biggest ones, at least that I know. It's like 20 gigabytes.
yeah, it's huge.
So so it's like pretty huge for huge library with a vast variety of sounds in it.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely when the purchase is made, the initial things that would be pulled into the session are only the sounds that you need, that you're looking for. But then, depending on how depending on what was purchased, you might have a purchase of a single sample, depending on who the artist is, or you might have purchased an entire library. And then at that point, when you want to pull in other sounds from that, you'll be able to. And we'll actually see kind of immediately as we start jamming with your stuff. It sort of doesn't. It's not nearly as fun to pull in one. The whole point of what you're doing is that they're in
The
grids and layers. That's the fun of it. So, yeah,
that was the Hey, if I can like have like 1 minute to describe what was the thought pattern behind this pack.
yeah, absolutely.
So one of the reasons that I created this pack, and one of the reasons that it's so big, is because as a producer, even though you do get to design most of your sound yourself, every now and then you do get also to choose maybe some samples that you're just too bored to recreate or whatever. So you are using samples to a certain extent. So to that point, that I decided to start creating sample pack, I always had issues with other people's sample packs in the aspect of that I would either find the sound that maybe I didn't like the whole lot of it, maybe I liked some part of the sound, or maybe I liked a layer of the sound. Uh, and I was always hoping that if I could get that layer out, then what I would be left with, that would be perfect for me. But that is impossible to do when you're dealing with samples and not presets. So you do get the only the result. So also I found myself finding like really good samples that I like, but unfortunately they only existed to one specific note or tonality in the sample pack. Therefore, if it didn't match by default with the tonality of the track that I was doing, I was like forced not to use it. Um, Even though most of those you do have the ability to pitch up or pitch down any given sample, that can only be done without losing any significant quality of the sound, up to like a couple of semitones up and a couple of semitones down. So if you start pitching up and down the audio sample too much, then you lose the actual quality of the sound and the essence of the sound. Therefore, I tried to create something. Not I tried, I did start creating something that was supposed to solve this problem. Therefore, the pack is so huge. So every sample that I did, you can get it inside the pack in the full form as a complete sound, but you can also get it in the individual layers that in combination they create this sound. So if you want to take something out of the sound, you can just you have it in you have all the individual layers that consist the sound. So you can take the one that you don't like out and keep the rest. And as an extension, you can combine layers of different sounds and create your own. So you can kind of use it as presets, so you can take one layer from one sound and one layer from the other sound and combine them together into something unique that it doesn't even exist in the sample pack to begin with. And all these samples are created in all the notes, like in all octaves, all the sounds, all the layers, all the individual parts of the sound. You can get them from in all the tonalities. Therefore, there is no problem in trying to pitch, and that was the problem that I was trying to solve by creating this sample pack.
It's really interesting. I think kind of I had a thought before this call of what we were going to do, which I've changed actually now that you've said that. I think that now that you said that that's how you put it together, I think one really fun thing for our community would be to see how to put these layers together. Exactly what you just said, because one of the huge advantages of WAGs is that it's a programming language. So you can programmatically say, okay, at this time I want these layers, and at this time I want those layers, and do some really interesting stuff that way. So let's kind of let's dive in there. And what I'm going to do is get a basic rig set up. So if you go to the document that I already sent, we can use that. Yeah. But I will also let me pull up the initial jam that we did with these samples.
You've already created something with it, with a
yep.
with a sample pack. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, let me just let me copy it in, and let me play it really quick. You can press play too. This is kind of the most elaborate thing that we've done with it. Should work. Let's test.
I do press play.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Does it sound familiar? Those are your sounds. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's really because these were initially meant to be for psytrance.
Yeah.
Listening the same sounds used in something different than psytrance always like puts in the perspective that, hey, yes, you can do that as well. So pretty interesting. Of course, I'll tell you the truth, I cannot really understand the coding language. Like it's I can't really understand what's going on. I would have to like look at it, and but I think I get the idea. So whatever you want to do, you basically type it in,
yep.
and you get the. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there like, and you can basically do more or less what you can do with with any DAW.
Yeah. Exactly. So that it's full featured. There's a recorder. There's sample importing, and kind of there's several advantages of it. One is that in some ways it's more powerful than a DAW, because we'll see kind of with code. There's just some stuff you could do with code that's a little hard to do in a DAW, and also it's social. So you can have up to 100 people in the same document messing around, just by sending out a link. So
messing around with it on the same track.
Yeah, so let's actually do a version of it right now. So okay. I'm gonna delete some stuff. So we're just gonna have it. What am I gonna delete? I'm gonna delete the drone. So now, just if you press play now.
Yep.
And then put the cursor in. If you scroll down to the word WAG. Right? WAG. It's around line like 23 or 24.
Yeah.
So if you see like KCK:0, for example.
Yeah.
So change the 0 to a 2, for example. Great. And then you should hear it update to what I call number 2 in real time. And now change the PHH0 to PHH:1, for example. Yeah. So we're so I'm changing them just to different things.
So it's like scrolling through the actual sample pack.
Yep. Exactly. So in real time, as you're changing it, it's scrolling through the sample pack, and as I'm changing it, it's scrolling through the sample pack. So it's literally changing in real time as both you and I are messing with it in real time.
So okay, that's like really really interesting. And so how would you create, like, if you want to change, for example, the bass, if you want to add a bass to it,
Yeah.
how do you command that?
So let's do that right now with something from the sample pack.
Hmm.
Uh,
But let's add a snare maybe.
yeah, sure. Let's take. Let me add one snare. So your files are currently in. We have two modes, but because they're like proprietary files, they're in protected mode, which means that if you see the list of files down there, all the files have handles that make no sense, essentially, and that's how they stay private. So this one, I'm the only one that has the key for it because I purchased the pack,
Mhm.
and the slug I'm gonna call GRSN. Let's say for Greek snare because you're in Greece, and I'll put one more snare that was downloaded. Um, so let's put GRSN 0, and then I'll put GRSN 1 there, right?
Okay.
If you downloaded the sample pack, you would have these private things too. It's just you didn't. Well, of course you did because you made it. But like I was the one that put it into the system. So that way. So now, if you take like let's say PHH1, I'm going to change it to GRSN 0, right?
Hmm.
And then I'm going to press play. And let me. There's one small issue, so let me just make sure that it's GR. Oh, sorry, I typed it in wrong. GRSN
Oh,
0.
okay. I think I'm getting it, but so the kick snare PHH, it also refers to kind of the 16ths that they actually play with.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
play.
Yeah, you got it.
So the rhythm is defined by the kick one, kick two, snare, snare,
Yeah,
hat, kick.
yeah. And I just put in two snares, and you'll hear the did in there.
Okay, but what if you wanna like move for 3 minutes with changes? Are you gonna have to like repeat the whole pattern again until you create a change?
Uh,
Or is
yeah, there's a couple ways to do it. You could. Do you mean that for 3 minutes you want it to change kind of every time
yeah,
that?
yeah. Let's say that we want to make like a really complex track. So we'll add another 20 channels here.
Yeah,
That so we want to start maybe with a kick and bass and snare, and then we want to add a couple of hats, and then we want to add a crash, and then we want to add a vocal, and then we want to add. But this is going to be like building up gradually, so there must be like a linear uh, kind of flow,
yeah,
and then we need to keep on adding elements to that.
yeah. Let me.
So it's just gonna be a long string of kick, snare. You're just gonna repeat this pattern until you start adding new stuff. So it comes in blocks in a sense.
Yeah, and one of the advantages of it being a programming language is you don't actually have to write that string many times. You can just create a function that generates the string for you.
All right, all right, all right. Sorry for the people in the group that might be uh, seeing me asking too many questions,
No, no,
but it's like it's not the standard way of creating music for most music producers like this way. So,
yeah. I mean,
but it makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, I can tell how it works.
yeah, and let me actually do an example of that just so you could see kind of
Mhm.
what it is. So I'm going to go to the documentation for it. I'm going to find a function
Okay.
called intercalate. This is not my function, by the way. This is just like this is from this is a standard function in this language. So I'm going to do import data foldable, and it's called intercalate. Uh, and I'll do uh, what what you just said, and let me actually do another one called repeat or replicate. So replicate. I'm gonna do from data array. I'm gonna import something called replicate. So literally, I'm taking the idea that you just said, and we're going to write it in code. So let's do the following: data my sequence. So if you see where I type mysec, right?
Yeah.
Mysec is array.replicate. Then let's say like 4 times. And then I'm going to put a value. So the value will just be this thing that I have here. And then I'm going to do the following. I'm going to use one of the stock sounds, so something not from your sample pack, but this will just like make the point. So I'm going to use that little open close operator that you saw. And here I'm going to put notes 6, let's say. So now I'm going to go down to where that wind is, and I'm just going to put mysec. So instead of I'll just put mysec. So now when there's one I forgot intercalate. So intercalate yoink mysec. Okay, let me just reload really quickly the page because there was a small error, and now it should be fine. And if you press play, you'll see. Oh shit! Sorry, there was a. I forgot to make it. I forgot to change the duration, so it wound up being exploding ears. Sorry about that. So 2 times 8.0. This should do it. Okay, if you press play, it'll work now.
I hear it.
And you hear how the note comes in on the 5th one, and then it goes back. So there, I used a programming function to say, we're going to repeat the array 4 times, and then 4 times that. So if you think of a traditional DAW, I actually prefer this personally, meaning it's really concise. You could build a whole piece just with these like replicate functions, essentially.
Okay. But it's like I'm not. I got music. It's only the result that counts, right? It's not the process or how it looks or how. It's like if you can get a decent track out of it, that's totally fine. Nobody will know how you made it.
Yeah.
But it can be for people who are used to the DAW, so like being visible, like so they can see what they move and how they move it. This can be a bit of a challenge, but I'm sure that people who are into it for a while and they can like type the commands and they know what they're going for. I think it's a really interesting way, and it's very unique. I didn't even before when you contacted me and you showed me the first time, I was like, how can they do it? It's a really unique way to create. But I think, if I understand correctly, it takes as a given that these samples are already into the system and you already got the codes to the individual samples.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. So there must be like a database where you just put all the code, all the samples, they get turned into code in a sense,
Yeah.
and then you get to use them in a. Okay.
Yeah, and there's one exception to that, which is next to the play button, there's an import button where into a session you could drag an MP3. So that's kind of, if you want something from outside the database, that's how you do it.
Okay. So basically, you can have like up to 100 people in here, either dropping new samples or doing their own thing onto one single piece of music.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very, very demanding. I mean, of course, the more people, the more the trouble to coordinate with how it should sound like. But
Yeah.
it's a really unique approach into music production. Like very, very interesting.
Cool, thanks. I mean, and you're right that 100 people. I've never experimented with like that many actually creating music together. So kind of we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But 2 is manageable. That I know already.
Yeah.
But Yeah, so that's the basic setup. But one thing I'd love to do, and this is just bouncing off of what you're saying, uh, on the stream, I always ask people like to pick out their favorite stuff and then dig into it. But I would really like to dig into the layer idea that you were talking about. If there's one particular thing uh, in layers, like I'm looking, for example, I have the folder open. Um,
Okay. So we can take we can like demonstrate it even without a kick and base. So if you pick up any folder, maybe the drones or the dark atmospheres or even the up filters or whatever,
yep.
everything you will see first of all, you get to hear the complete sound. So
Yeah.
you have in every folder you have like the complete sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you can get to choose what sound you want and at what tonality and what you want. So you can like go through it and say, for example, that I want to import that sound. So you can go to the subfolder and you can get all the layers of that particular sound.
Yep.
So for example, in the drones, you might have, I don't know how many drones you got there.
Dark layers. There's dark layers and sub layers. Yeah.
That is in the okay. So you can get, for example, if first choose something from the complete, right? And then you can get like a layer of sample 1 in C, and then you can get another layer from sample 2 in C.
Got it. Okay. And are they?
Or maybe in the up filters, in the effects, in the up filters,
Yeah.
you will get like a sub layer, like mid layer, and kind of there's like 3 layers usually. So you can create a riser, an up filter with combining one of the sub layers with one of the middle layers and with one of the top layers. So immediately all the possible combinations, they turn from, I don't know, 10 times 10 times 10, you can get like up to like 1,000 different risers in one sample pack that will never sound the same.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you can choose any layer with any layer, and immediately it multiplies even more the utility of the pack.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking at the up filters just because you mentioned it right now. I'm gonna look at complex. I'm gonna pull in just
okay.
one sound, and kind of we could build off of that. Let me also see kind of what the duration is for the
All of it is 140 BPM.
okay, 140 BPM, and it's yeah. So 1 second. So this, let me just get the exact duration. So
let me be into the let me go into the files as well, so I can see them.
yep. I got it. Yeah, so this is definitely going to be 3260 times 32.0. Okay, so I'm just going to play, I'm going to input one of those sounds that you're talking about. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, you could hear on the pad, I put it in there if you press play, one of those up filters.
Okay, so that is a single layer.
Yeah.
Right? You can use it as such. You can use it and do the job with that, but you can combine it with another layer and make it more. So the risers especially are separated. The up filters are separated in noise.
Yeah.
Simple, complexity, and complex. The noise is the usual, like just the noise up filter.
Yeah.
Which is a basic layer upon to build on.
Yeah.
And then if you want to have some movement in it as well, then you can like add a simple layer so that they can play together. And if you want more complex movement on top, then you can add a third layer and still have like the same riser but different texture every time. So even though you are so the possibilities are like multiplied by 10 times fold. And that was the whole point, for users to be able to use the same. They can recreate samples with different textures and different layers. So maybe one part of it is still the same, but all the rest is different.
I,
So
I'm gonna use for now. I'm just gonna do 3 at a time, just exactly kind of what you just said. But they all sound pretty loud by themselves, which of course is good. But for each one, I'm gonna turn the volume down like a little bit before we press play, just to make sure and we'll mess with the volume even more. But for now, I'll do and as I'm typing, you could also see how we do, because we haven't done any like changing volume or stuff like that. So you could see how that's done. Change volume const 0.2. So for now, I'll make everything at a volume of 0.2, but we'll totally mess around with this in a little bit. But for now, that just seems like a pretty reasonable thing. So I'll press play. It's why? Yeah, I see the problem. Earth, wind, fire. Okay, I'll just reload it really quick. I'll refresh the page. Press play.
now you can see the second layer coming in.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, I really like this. So let's
So that is the whole principle in all the pack.
yeah.
Right? Now, the risers themselves, they are separated layers. There isn't any predefined, like ready. It's like only parts. But if you go, for example, and do the same with, let's say, let me find something of exact. Okay. If you go to the dark textures, for example, the dark textures folder.
Yeah. Dark textures. Okay, I'm there. I'm in dark SFX, but it's not dark textures. Yep, got it.
Dark textures, okay?
Yep.
You have two sublayers inside. One is the full dark textures, where you can get to hear the complete sounds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so let's go inside, and maybe you can pick one in, I don't know, in C. It doesn't really matter which notes you pick, because all of the samples are the same. It's just different tonality.
Got it.
So pick up, I don't know, D, for example.
Yeah.
And maybe you can throw in dark texture number 10. I don't even remember what it is, but try to add the full dark texture number 10.
Dark texture 10. Let me find just how they're named really quickly. It's okay if I do C?
You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And anything is just as good.
Yeah.
You can do C, yeah.
Yeah. Let me okay, cool. So I'll do DTC DTC0 one second, actually, because I had changed this a little bit. Const to your point too. Okay, so DTC0. So if I understand correctly, the layer 10. There's L1, L2, L3.
This is the complete. This is the complete. This is the full dark textures. So you get to hear a complex sound.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe you can take the riser out.
Yeah, I took the riser out. So
I took it out. Okay, sorry, I'm still listening to it.
Yeah, no worries. What I'm doing now is I'm gonna DTC1, and let me L1. Okay, so I'm gonna put in 3 for now, and like we could totally build off of that. So DTC0, DTC1, DTC2. Let me press play just to make sure that I put
These
it.
are the full one. These are the full.
Okay, so this is not the layers then.
No, this is not the layers.
Okay,
So
I got the wrong one. Sorry.
the idea goes like this: you go into the full sound.
Yep.
You check which one you want, and then you go to the specific folder of that sound, and inside you have all the layers that create this. So I just want to get an example inside of a full sound, and then we're going to go to a specific folder and see all the layers that
Yeah, I got
create
it.
that particular sound.
Got it. Okay, yeah. Let me. Sorry about that. So full dark textures. 01. Okay, so I got it. So let me do it with So I'll put full dark texture. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna get rid of this. Get rid of this, and I will just put FDT. And I'll put the volume at 1 because I only have 1. So what I picked, just so you know, is full dark texture 1 in C.
Okay.
So
in C.
Yeah. So let's play it just to make sure it goes through.
Let's play that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe reload the page. There could have been a small error. Yeah, sometimes the DAW, if there's too many samples, it just needs to reload.
So now you are hear the sound, and you can say that there's a lot of elements inside.
Yeah.
It's like crackles and stuff.
Yeah.
So let's say now that you only need the bass sub-layer, and you don't need the crackles on top.
Yep.
A regular sample pack, you wouldn't be able to extract that crackle and use it either alone, or maybe you want to use the underlaying pad under it. So you go to the folders now that are dark textures in layers.
Yep.
Right? And you go to dark texture 1.
Yep.
Which is the one you picked, and you go to C. And if you open it, there's like 3 layers inside. So now these are the 3 layers that together, when played, they create the full texture. And you can get to hear the crackles alone, the low layer alone, and the other, like, I don't know how to call it.
But let me, so I'm going to put DTL1 for dark texture layer 1. So let's just, so the people listening can hear too. Let's just listen to kind of what one layer sounds like of that.
The whole sound. So now let's go to the one of single layer.
Yeah. Let me. It's just for some reason. Why is this bugging out? Sorry. It's yeah. Sorry. There's a small mistake. I just need to reload the page. And then I'll press play, so folks can hear it. Okay, cool. So this is one layer of it. Yeah.
One layer.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'll add another one of those layers. I'll call it a handle. So yeah, for those following, I'll call it slug DTL2. DTL2. So press play. This is really not my day. What? Yeah. Okay, great. So I'll reload really quick and then I'll pick it up. Okay, so this is the second layer. It's crackles, kind of more filtered. Yeah. Okay.
So maybe you don't want that in the sound. You can recreate the sound only with the 2 layers and keep that out.
Yeah. Let me.
Or maybe you want to use that as a single element without the sub layer.
Yeah.
You can still use it as a single element somewhere else. So it's like.
Yeah. I'm gonna put it.
And what you can do is you can go back to the same subfolder, which is all the I don't know how many I got here. There is like 15 full textures.
Yeah.
But if you go to the sub layers, you can go, for example, now and use that layer of the crackles from this sound, and you can go to C and choose the layer of another dark texture and combine one layer from one dark texture with another layer of another dark texture and
Uh,
create something new.
that's so cool. Let's do it. Let's do exactly the
Okay.
thing that you just said because I would have so much fun doing that. So what I'm gonna do is so this is times 32.
You can go to the dark textures in layers, but you go to dark texture number 3
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Okay.
Or,
And you go back to C, so which is the same tonality, and now you have 4 layers inside, right?
yeah,
So you can get to, usually the layer 1 is the sub layer.
got it.
So
Okay.
maybe you can choose one of the layers from dark texture 3 and add it to the 2 that you kept from dark texture 1.
Yeah. So I'm let's do exactly that. So I'm gonna take one from dark texture 3 and I'm gonna put DT3 DT3 0 that um, DT3 L0, let's say. Okay, so I'm gonna do the following. I'm gonna do one run where it's all from one, and then another run where DT. So you'll see what I'm doing in WAG. So first, all of the dark texture zeros are together, and then I'm gonna do exactly what you said. DT 3 L, no, DT3, yeah, DT3 L0, DT0 L3. So we'll keep L3 and we'll keep L2 for now.
Okay.
All right. So and it should work. So we're gonna hear it's once through it's gonna be 3, and then we're gonna pull in one of the layers from the other one, and let's hear how that sounds. I turned it down maybe a little too soft, so I'm going to stop it and move it to 0.4 for all of them.
Okay, so that eerie sound. You added the layer from the other one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Great. And that's on, if you look at wind, the channel, so the channels are named after bands, so earth, wind, and fire. So if you look at wind, that's the layer from the other one.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do now, I hope that this like is not too offensive, but I'm gonna add LFOs to them just so we could hear.
You can do whatever you like. That's the purpose of it.
Yeah, good.
The purpose, samples are tools. Okay, you are not forced to use them as they are, and that's the whole mentality of this sample pack anyway, to just take them and play around and create your own stuff. That's why it's called Cyton's Creator.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be pushing you to create your own stuff rather than just take it and place it in the track.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
So
that's what I'm gonna do now. Let's see if it actually is what I want. So I'm gonna create three LFOs. So we'll hear it fading between all of them
okay.
in time. Let me make one of the LFOs a bit more. Let me make them all sort of more drastic. Because I can hear it, but it would be good if it faded in a little bit more. I'm going to add some panning to it too. Let's see. Okay, so I'll stop this. Let me just add panning to one of them. So I'm gonna just copy and paste a basic pan module. Press play again. All right, I definitely can hear that.
I have sound, but let me press.
Let me add a couple panning modules. Actually, yeah, now I could hear it really going back and forth between the two sides. One second, let me add it one more. Yeah, it made it really soft all of a sudden, so I'm gonna make them louder again. Okay.
I'm having a bit of an issue with the sound, to be honest.
If you refresh the page, it should be fine, and then just press play.
I did.
Okay, let me stop it. Is it okay, or is the sound still?
No, I got sound.
Okay. So now I have LFOs on the panning and the volume, so you really feel that going through it. Yeah. And it's possible because there you really hear the layers kind of coming in and out through the LFO.
So imagine if you start stacking up another 10 layers on top of that.
Yeah.
Because you can.
Yeah.
You can just like every sound has like, I don't know, minimum 2 to maximum 5 layers. So if you got like 15 sounds of an average 4 layers, imagine how many options you have to recreate something unique. You can just, on this sound, you can add another 5 layers of different textures and come up with something totally unique at the end.
Yeah, definitely. And
so it's like it's supposed to push you to play around, right? It's what would usually presets do in VSTs, like being able to manipulate them to your liking, but in an audio form.
Yeah.
Of course, you cannot do as much as you can do with a synth to the preset, but you do have at least the choice and the layers, and you can treat them individually should you choose.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. I'm gonna I mean, the thing that, like, the idea you have of mixing and matching, like that strategy that I showed you with the array dot repeat or replicate, where you just repeat something.
Yeah.
You could do literally the entire sample pack. You can get an hour of music in 3 lines just with array replicate, and then just put the correct numbers in there, and you have the whole entire thing. Of course, it might not be like that musically satisfying because you're doing it randomly, but like it sets up a canvas for you to paint on really fast. Essentially, you'll just hear it coming in and out, and then you can mess around with it. I actually embarrassingly didn't know that was the deal, and now that I look back, remember how I told you I deleted some of the sounds? I actually deleted all of the layers, which is the most interesting part, which is dumb. So now I have to come back and do, because I just kept all the full stuff. But now that I get the point, like
But imagine if you only kept like 400 megabytes and you deleted like 19.6 gigabytes,
Yeah.
you kind of missed the whole story.
Yeah,
I think this was 50.2 gigabytes or something. So
yeah, it's huge.
but that though is gonna be like really interesting, because it's like a new territory. So obviously you and the users of the group, they can like play around with it and get creative with it and use it in any style they want, because even though the sounds are made as a sidetrack genre, they can be used individually or in layers or in combinations into whatever you want. And there is so much stuff inside that there is no way that you're not going to find something to use in any given track.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely have enough stuff for like a month of messing around. Now that I know, especially about the layers thing, I can I can just go to town. And the yeah, I'll send you a couple of them. But basically, the yeah, if I get rid of because now there's like I put a DSP rack in there with like pans and stuff, so it makes the document a little long. But the part you're talking about, like the sequential part, is actually really, really, really short. Essentially, it's just like 3 lines of a sequence. So there, it's and then adding like drums and like and snares on top of it, like we did. Really
You can just go ahead and like build a like a simple rhythm so that you can have like a groove going, and then you can just go directly to the sounds and start, adding sounds one on top of each other.
Yeah. Let me just on that note, we're gonna wrap up pretty soon, just because usually these things are an hour. But because you said add a groove, I'm gonna add a groove because I can. So
Okay.
let's do it. So I will. 1 second. Let's go to Lambert. All right. So let me see. This should. It should just work. But let me double check. Yeah. So if you press play, it's fine. Here going back and forth with the LFO, so it creates this effect. Yeah. Great. Yeah, it's so much more dynamic than just a normal groove because of the layers coming in and out of it. It's just like if somebody didn't know how it was made, they wouldn't necessarily think about that, but that is what's going on for sure. So cool. All right, I'm gonna tweet it out that we're done. So one second, let me add done super fun groove. Okay, so if you want to stay on the discourse call, I'll end the stream. So I'll say goodbye.
Yeah,
folks know stuff.
for all the people that might be interested in getting the pack, I am going to supply you with a discount code of 15% and a link to it. So maybe for the people that want to get the pack, they can get it with a discount, a special group, and the link is going to be down below after the session is done. You can give it to the group.
Yeah, I'll send it on the Discord, and I'll also put it in this document because people will
absolutely
come and follow along. Okay, so if you want to stay on the call, I'll say kind of goodbye to everybody, and then you and I could wrap up just a little bit.
Excellent.
That'd be great. So yeah, thank you so much for being our second guinea pig for this format.
Thank you for having me. It was super, super interesting. It's like it gives me another perspective of what can be done with in the sound production scene, and I hope the viewers found it interesting, and looking forward to joining the group again and your future podcast to see other people like working on that code.
Yeah, great. Okay, so this will sign off the stream. Take care, and see you next week with Mark Applebaum will be here. But yes, download SounDirective stuff. And by the way, I should say, last thing is that this is not the only pack. There's many, so go on Gumroad, check it out, and enjoy it. So.